Good evening and welcome to our final show of 2023. Clinton and Adam here as usual, and Spencer stresses us out with the microphone right till the very end. They go green at that millisecond. How you doing, bud?
I don't even look at the color codes down below, but I do know I'm doing great. I do know that in the what's it been 5, 6 years we've been working together, 4 years of doing Rivalz race chat. We have never so often asked, "Are the microphones on or the microphones off? Those mics on? These hot?" And things that
Yeah,
we never had to worry about until where was it, Sobel, where we had a live mic going out over the NASCAR channels for about half an hour before we realized it was even on. So that could have got sketchy.
we've got our ass handed to us a couple times over that. So, hey, Merry Christmas to everybody. Happy holidays. What are you going? Did I cut you off there?
A little bit, but I'm even getting better at eating my comments. I was just going to add that people who work on microphones are the filthiest people in the world. And they are as soon as the microphone goes off, because you got to mind your P's and Q's. You got to be careful what you say. So sometimes when everything is shut down, it's like, oh, thank freaking goodness this on and on and on. But
As soon as the mic shots off, Adam just lets a stream of extremities go and read out there. But as I was saying, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and happy Hanukkah to everybody out there. And however you're celebrating time with your family and friends over the coming weeks. We will be off for the next 2 Tuesdays, so I think it's January 2nd we return. It's great to see everybody, and we appreciate everybody's comments. I see Glenn Butt commenting there. It's good to see. It's that's just a funny story. We're at Moseport waiting for the end, and he starts talking about. He says I should go tackle you and fight you in front of everybody, and I'm like, wow, you listen to what we do? It's crazy. So we appreciate everybody who's tuning in, participating. We do have a good show for you, though. The last one here for the year. We're going to talk about SRX not coming to Canada. That is the news we have for you today. It did not come through. And we'll talk about some of the math, the process. I invited Don Hawk on, but he's flying from Charlotte to LaGuardia right now. As we speak, he's in the air, but he said he would definitely come on and speak about it. We'll get to that in a second. We'll talk about Dirt in December. Gateway Nationals there inside last weekend. We got some clips from that. Of course, our Burger Run videos of the week. And then we're going to have Alex Nagy come on along with Alan Dietz, who's one of the announcers from the Snowball Derby. You might have heard Alan. We'll talk about some stuff going on there and get up to speed with the APC series and some rules updates with them with Alex, and just chat about a whole bunch of other things. So
there's big stuff on the go, Clinton. It was kind of quiet in the fall, but then the Snowball Derby came along, and now there's some big news happening. The SRX stuff was exciting. And I thought throughout that whole process, Don Hawk was as forthcoming as he could possibly be, with saying, hey, these are our intentions. And then it not coming to fruition, but it certainly wasn't for a lack of them wanting to. And then beyond that, APC, the rules they've put out and some changes that are coming about there. There's a lot of exciting things coming together really early in this off season.
Yeah, so part of our off-season business, work that we do, we had to look at some viewers, our view counts. So we have some cool numbers that we got I got my Ashweekend numbers here. Those are the ones we're going to show, I think, tonight. I don't know why I didn't show the APC ones too, which was silly. But Spencer, throw them up. So these are the Ashweekend numbers, Adam. And, people ask why do we live stream, but just a couple of highlights. May 26th, 34,000 viewers. Down to a low light of September 1st, which is 14.7, which is still amazing numbers. Total number of viewers at our weekend, 381,000 plus, and our average view count was 23,848. So, what do you take away from those numbers, Adam? I take away that it is worth whatever we are losing, and I've had to have a few arguments over that, but what we're losing is, let's look at some math there. If you look at, let's say, 100 people stayed home, right? $20 a head. It's $2,000. I mean, we throw billboards up all over the place. So you're going to tell me I could trade, a billboard cost in for 30,000 views? I would do that all day long.
And beyond that, if you look at those numbers, those are G-Force only numbers. That does not account for who got to see the product on Rev TV. Rev TV never would have gotten the product if Oswego Speedway hadn't invested so much in its weekly production. Like one doesn't happen without the other. So we're on national television across corner to corner in the country for people to be able to watch. So beyond those numbers, that average of 24,000 views. And I also know YouTube views are not easy to come by. We have messed around with YouTube. We've messed around with Facebook. Facebook numbers always seem to me to be easier to amass. YouTube numbers are not the easiest numbers to hit. And it's like walking outside with no clothes on. There's nowhere to hide because those numbers are visible to anybody who wants to see them. So we can't bullshit those numbers. Those are legit views. You go on YouTube, you can see how many people have viewed it. So we can't exaggerate those numbers. There's no multiplier there. I think that's a really healthy number, especially given the fact that attendance has either been static or increased a little bit. And car counts are off the charts. I mean, you take everything together, and it's the package, is the whole package is the result. And look at the other places that are doing a great job. Delaware Speedway, they've got their package that works great. Then go the opposite way. Go to a Brighton or a Cornwall. They do things completely differently, but their package works. Everything is unique. But what we've got at Oswego works for Oswego and the race teams and the sponsors, and most importantly, the owner of the damn place.
Yeah, Spencer, I just sent you those numbers. Throw them up quickly. These are the APC numbers, Adam. So still solid numbers, 18,000, up to a high of 31,000 at Sunset, and a low light of Sauble at 11, but Sauble had 18,000 the first race. So still, you try and figure out, well, what was going on that night where the numbers were lower than the rest? Certainly out of spec, but, total viewers, 177,000 views. Well, of course, this is just on GeForce.
Was that not the Bristol night race?
Right? Could have been too.
So a lot of the reason those numbers are a bit smaller, I think Friday is better than Saturday when it comes to streaming. Saturday nights, if you're a race fan, you're at the races, and there's 5 times more options on a Saturday than there is a Friday. So every number has a reason and a purpose. And I would guess if those Sauble numbers were low, it's because people were watching Bristol at night. That's only a guess. Someone would have to look that up and tell me, but that's traditionally the night.
Still nothing to be worried about, but I think everything was great. Stream numbers were looking good. Let's switch over to SRX. So I got the news Friday that it was not going to happen. We were looking at, I don't think we've talked about this, but it was $250,000 US. So when you look at that, conversion at the banks, you're looking around 340 Canadian at today's bank rates. I mean, that's a massive amount of money for us to take on. Even with Glenn's bankroll, it still doesn't make business sense, So we were going to do it, though. We were going to go for it because I think it would put Oswego, it's the next biggest thing. If we can't get High Limit and Outlaws, and let's shoot for what we can get. Don Hawk was fantastic, as you mentioned, the intro to work with. I think he's going to come on the show here and when we get back and talk about, they want to come to Canada. They want to come to Oswego. But the deal is, they're union employees who only have a contract for 6 races, and that's, I'm assuming, where it comes from basically is, they wanted 150,000 extra US dollars to come to Canada. Well, when you add that in, I mean, that puts the amount near 500,000-600,000 for us, and you just can't make money on that. And we were still going to do it and pay the sanction of 340, but when the TV networks couldn't come around and cover that to buy the rights for it, kind of put the deal at bay. So that's where we're at. Your thoughts, Adam, before I show some grandstand math?
Okay, I was going to share some grandstand math just in my head, so I won't.
Throw up the chart, Spencer.
My thoughts are that it was going to be a $70 ticket, to make your nut. Because not only do you need to make your money back, with that show, you needed to make that 5,000 pre-sold tickets. You cannot count on walk up for that, because if the weather's bad, you're going to lose your shirt. So you got to be selling those tickets in the off season, in the preseason, and then all the way leading up to that at $75. And that's based, not including the $150,000 extra that they were trying to get from a TV network. And I'm still really disappointed in the people at the TV networks for not asking. Like, that blows my mind. But I think not everyone is an entrepreneur. And certainly the people that work at the networks, I don't think are very entrepreneurial. Like, they have their mandates to follow. Because if someone brought that to us, Clint, and said, "What can you make of this?" So, okay, 150,000 is what we got to make in a night. We got a year to figure this out. Can we sell it? We'd rack our brains and think about what product you have to sell, what it would look like to sell that 150, and you'd come up with a plan. But for people to just shut the door and say, "Nope, not interested," you don't get to have that conversation.
Yeah, there's a lot of things like like Mike Kerr says, 340K for 12 drivers on the track. Yeah, I know. But there's so many different analogies we've used. Let's go back to the chart quickly, Spencer, and let's just talk about that quickly. We threw it up. So, at a $75 ticket, Adam, you're looking at, you need other people to come. Our regular fans aren't going to love this, and we'll get to that talk in a minute. But the math, I'm sure we could get 5,000 people, so we break even there. What's killing us is the exchange rate, and if you could fill it like we did with Larson the Outlaws, you could make a couple $100,000. Can you take that down, Spencer? But the question is that amount of stress worth it? You need the perfect day, the perfect storm, the perfect amount of SRX mojo, meaning they've brought the right drivers that connect with our business model and our fans up here. I think there's so many ways to look at it like that. But back to our regular fans, they would be pissed off being asked to pay $75, right? But I look at it this way: we have people go to concerts all the time, spend $150. What do you pay for your Carrie Underwood concert tickets? $370 a
We
piece,
got
something like that.
a screaming deal. I got the pair at the auction for $350, but I know people who got Taylor Swift tickets. They were lucky enough to win that lottery, so they got Taylor Swift tickets for $250 each and just sold them for $1,800 a piece. So
Yeah.
that's the going rate.
So if people say $75 ticket, well, you got to remember now. The way I equate it is you have music fans who go to concerts, and you have Johnny who sits at the local pub and watches me strum on my guitar on a Friday night. So I love live music. So yeah, I'm all about it. But he's not going to pay that money to go see,
No,
whoever it is, Jason Aldean, let's say, like I did in the summer. But he's still there. He's a music lover. So just the same way, we have our hometown music, our race fans who love everything, but we would be relying on, for lack of better terms, Toronto fans to come out of the big
absolutely.
city
Yep.
and come and see Marco Andretti race. Or the drag racing fans who grew up on Kohler Road here at Dragway Park, Cayuga, who are going to come and see Ron Capps race on dirt. And the idea is, why would we do it? It's to open doors. I fight internally with a lot of our staff who say, "Oh, Shweeken's a sprint car track." I said, "I know that. Then why are you bringing the Pinty series?" Well, because it brings all these other race fans who follow that and think that's cool. And then we show them the sprint cars and knock their heads right off. So to me, that's where it's at. If you get Kyle Busch and Marco Andretti and Joseph Newgarden fresh off a 500 win, you've got a winner there. Jonathan Davenport and Kyle Larson, those six guys right there would fill the
So
place for us.
the hardest part at that point, Clinton, is having to listen to all your regulars. Not all of them, but you're going to get bombarded with people telling you how stupid you are. Because
I
those are
already
the
have.
people who are around you, right? Those are the people who are around you that pay $20 every week or $40 to go in the pits, whatever it is. I think it's 35, saying, "You're nuts. You're nuts. This will never work. Why are you doing this? We don't care. We're here every week anyhow." You are not our audience. You are not the people this event's being promoted for. No disrespect. You've got your 20 events on the calendar. This event is to bring in 4,000 people of those 5,000 who wouldn't come to Ush Weekend otherwise. This is to
Yeah.
introduce them to what you've got going. So, but that background noise is so prevalent, right? And unfortunately, you're the one that has to deal with that, and it'll drive you nuts.
You look at our Pinty's race, it was a smash hit the first year. Second year, we split two and get kicked in the ass with rain. Man, that was the dumbest decision I ever made, you know. But, hopefully this
And
year
you'll
we
make
got in the
more.
third year of the contract. Dumb decisions? Oh, yes.
Yeah.
In this
You
job, I
make,
have learned that I do not know everything.
if you don't make, it's risk reward, but you have to take that risk. And when you don't get rewarded, you've got egg on your face. You look a little bit silly. Mother Nature didn't reward you this year. Had everything been perfect weather-wise, would you have had that huge crowd? If you had gotten the big name stars to come up that we thought we were going to get for those NASCAR races, right?
Yep.
Now you're going
Yep.
to sell those tickets. But so many things fall apart behind the scenes that people don't know about, and it just winds up looking a little bit flat. But keep your chin up, right? You have to keep doing those things. Some of them are going to work, some of them are not. Sometimes you go to an event, and I wish I could think of an example off the top of my head, but sometimes you go to a place, an event that's not a home run, but there's something that they do that you're like, wow, we got to bring that to our track. That's really neat. Like I say, that trailer that you just purchased there a couple of weeks ago, that's one of those things. Boy, we've seen that at Super Dirt Week. We've seen that here and there. That'd really go well at our place. So you bring in those good ideas, right?
No, Maryville does a good job. I'll give credit where credit's due. Don utilizes his fan tram very well. I can't lie and say I haven't been at Maryville a few nights. It's like, damn, we need to get our hands on one of those. So when one came up, we bought it. I think the push now is, do we put the pressure on Don to get SRX to come back? And it's funny, you said to me a couple weeks ago when you knew, I mean, this has gone on since August, right, Adam? That's when I reached out to SRX and started the discussion. So, I still hold our head high with the Oshweekin family here and say, the fact that we went from nothing, we cold called them, knocked on the door, and Kevin Ridley got us in the back door, really, to the right people. We made it work, and we got the discussion going. 30-plus tracks want this event every year. We got on the short list of 6. We had a date of August 9th, that close. So I'm going to just hold those things as our proud moments and think, we're that close to landing Metallica, but maybe next year we can work it out. So that's the next thing. Do we plan something now? Same talk we've given to, the Outlaws and the, High Limit. You guys got a year to figure this out. Announce you're coming now. Commit to us. And this is what I've been pissed off, Adam. You know this. As a Canadian race fan, we should be pissed off. This is where I'm going to get up on my soapbox and say, all those major series that we loved and supported and watched religiously don't give a flying F about us here in Canada. They don't care to cross the border. They don't care to make the effort. It pisses me off. And now the TV networks jumping in and not really coming to bat to help it work. As Canadian race fans, we should be pissed off. You hear every other sanctioning body in the world, whether it be SRX, NASCAR, everybody talks. This is the next big market is Canada. We got fans coming out the ass. What the F, man? Mm-hmm. I'm going into the new year pissed off.
It's a kick in the balls. You've got, people used to complain about the attitudes are difficult to deal with, the Sammy Swindell and the Steve Kinser. Those bastards crossed the border. They came and played in our sandbox, right? It's the new people, and it's not even the racers themselves. It's the people running the sanction that are afraid of what will happen. Now that there's 2 groups, if they commit to Canada, is that a turning point for some of their teams? Come on. Suck it up. You put on a race, people are going to come and race. You pay the right money, people are going to come. And there's been comments, I think, Mike, you had one about why not put up a big 410 race with a huge purse and not have it sanctioned? Because we have pretty big 360 races, and piss on the 410s if they don't want to come up. When they want to come, let's get behind it. Let's get excited. Let's pump it up. Right now, they don't want to come, so why try to lure them with more and more money?
Yep.
When we can have great 360 races and bring up stars that will come. There are stars that are pumped up to come and race at Oshweekin. They've been invited. The conversations are ongoing. And when things are confirmed, we can announce it. Fantastic. The series won't come, but the stars will.
Yeah, so that's where we're at now. I mean, let's build 360 races, get the stars to come up. I mean, we've had Kyle Larson, Christopher Bell, all these guys, Stuart Friesen, in these 360 cars. We need to keep working that out so we can make it happen. And I think, our guys have shown they can race with these guys. So it's awesome to have big 360 races. I mean, I've been looking at the drivers who will come, and that's what I think, you and I talk multiple times every day, and that was the talk Friday. I think we need to blow as much sunshine at these drivers who do make the effort to come to Canada, and the teams and the series that do say, yes, we realize Canada's a problem, but we're going to go after it. And so we went after everybody this year. High Limit, Outlaw, Short Track Super Series. Super Dirt Car Series is the one we didn't, but Glenn had a brief talk with Dean Reynolds about it, and it wouldn't really work simply because our local Merrittville climate, they're all on sale panels now. So we don't have a great support class to come in and fill in the gaps. And we'd end up with 18 cars. The same reason we're not taking some of our tours across the border because, we would end up with a great show. And we can do that. But, man, the ones we're talking to, and I'll tell you, Adam, the one we talked to, Rico. Rico's always trying to raise his brand. Last week I threw it out to Rico. The problem is now we've got, and back to Mike's deal about creating our own event, now you got two rival sanctions where they're in Wisconsin, half of them, and the other half's in California. It was easier. It would have been easier to put something together on a 410 big deal like that. But now you're committing a few $100,000. You have no points way to hold them to come. They could all boycott it. Now you got egg on your face, and somebody shows up with a crappy 410 out of Michigan and wins, $50,000 or something. And the problem is the 410 money now. What's it going to take to dazzle them? They're racing for 50 and $100,000 as it is.
Yeah, yeah, and for the stars, you can do it. But how long before the World of Outlaws is no longer good enough on its own? Was it the World of Outlaws, or was it Steve Kinser and Donnie Schatz and the other stars, Jack Hodenshield, that they brought with them? What was the draw? Because soon you're going to say, we're putting on a World of Outlaws show, and people are going to be, well, which outlaws are coming? Who's still an outlaw? That will carry weight in some places, but will it still draw 6,000 people to come to Ohsweken?
I still think you got to pepper it with a Larson or a Bell or somebody like that to draw the casual fans in. And that's so, not everybody looks like, oh, why bring these guys in? Why pay these guys appearance money? Not because I think they're better than our guys. It's because they can draw a crowd for us and draw new eyeballs. I mean, we talk about Mike Morris and the sales he's done for Ohsweken lately. It's been amazing. But part of his mantra is, let's find companies who are going to bring 40 or 50 people a night out to a night. Let's find companies who want to build a night with us and build us a fan base, along with just, instead of just buying a billboard, let's say.
Yeah, and that's cool, where it's going.
But checks plus new growth are better.
It's infectious also. So when you come to the track, the places that are happening right now are really happening. So when you come out to a night, you feel that positive energy, you might come back. There are places right now, the last couple of years, where if you came out, you might think twice, I'm kind of glad I came. We'll keep doing this once a year. Reminds us of our childhood. You don't want that response. You want that, man, what's happening next? Well, maybe we're not going to come next week, but I get paid again the following week. What's on the card that Friday? That's what you have to build, that we want to come back. The kids have to be tugging on their parents' shirts saying, come on, bring us back. We got to go back.
Yeah. Just a comment on Fran. Talks about Ohsweken paying for the ESS. Those are joint races. The ESS are also part of it. But we have the folks from Michigan. We got Southern Ontario Sprints plus our Ohsweken guys. Yeah, so I can talk about that. Thursday, July 11th is part of our NASCAR Canada Series race, the former Pinty Series. That's going to be on Thursday night with 360s. Right now it's scheduled at 5K, Adam, with our friends. I see it being 10K to win. I got meetings with the 6 and 8 Big Four coming up in the new month, so we expect to get, but right now we're listing it at 5K for Thursday, July 11th. Friday, July 12th is a multi-sanction event. It's going to be like a major sprint car event for 360s. That's going to be 10K to win. And then we've already announced that our Canadian Sprint Car Nationals 20th edition is going to be 20,000 Canadian to win and $2,000 to start in September. So watch for a lot of those big notices coming out. We're not behind the 8 ball. We're just trying to put together some big deals. So we'll be taking care of our own. But yeah, we have reached out to guys like Kenny Wallace, Rico Abreu, who can come to Canada and race with our guys.
There's some cool stuff coming down the pipeline.
I
think people will be thrilled.
We got a couple minutes before we jump into Alex, and Alan Dietz going to join us too. We'll save the Dirt in December stuff till later, Spencer. Let's just run our Burger Barn video of the week. This is a slick. This is electric go-karts on a slick track inside the Indianapolis field there at PRI. We need to build this, Adam. This is what Ontario needs right here in southwestern Ontario. A slick track indoor electric kart where all the dirt sliders can get out and have fun. Doesn't that look like a blast?
Yep. And you won't do a ton of damage to the carts with them sliding that much. You can get that effect with shuffleboard wax. I've seen it done a lot of different ways.
I love it. You know, my dream facility is that we build a driver development deal. You know, I can spay it because you and I are never going to have the millions to pull it off. So
I've
a driver development where we have a gym, right, with a slick track like that downstairs. We could hold league nights. You could have look at how much parents pay for power skating and indoor baseball practice. Racer parents are the craziest ones of them all. And you could have different age groups. You could have weight trainings that's specific for racers. I think it could be amazing.
I've got to tell you, Clinton, this is news to you. You have not heard this. But Spencer and I have been invited to take part in a big karting event in January at K1 kart tracks.
Nice.
I think in Vaughan. And you can't race.
Why?
You got to be more than 200 pounds. If
Okay.
you're not 200 pounds, you don't get to race. Brandon Feeney put me on to it. He's not the one putting it on. And yes, I am looking at my phone because I don't want to screw up this name. Spencer, did you sign up? Kyle Hope. Sorry about that. So I'm on the waiting list, but Spencer is in. But I expect I'll get in. Spencer's got a better shot because I would be okay if the weight was 300 pounds. So I'm giving up quite a bit. But Spencer has signed up. I hope to be there. I love that. This is thinking outside the box. Screw you skinny bastards that drive by on a go-kart track and leave us in the dirt. It's about time man-sized men got their opportunity.
All right. Hopefully we get some footage from the man race then. Well, we should probably jump into a couple things. I see Alex is getting ready. When he's ready, we'll jump into Alex. He's got his headset on.
He's doing his hair and makeup.
Bring him on. Alex, welcome to the program. Man, you take a lot of shit from these guys. Luke's throwing jabs at you last week at the meeting. Alex starts off our night with a bad one. How you doing, sir?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Good. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, if you can dish it out, you better be able to take it.
That's it.
Yes. Let's talk. Alan Dietz is going to join us, so we'll talk about that in a minute, Alex. But, state of things with the APC United Racing Series. I've got some questions for you about the hot rods and the modifieds too. But, how are things going and, what's the state of affairs lately?
Things are good. We, as you guys know, you attended our general meeting last Monday. I think it was.
Wednesday.
And Wednesday, sorry. One day last week. And, went good. It was nice to get everybody together. It's been a while. And, over time, our industry changes. Everybody's business changes a bit. So it was a good opportunity to just kind of revisit where we came from and where we're going.
Alex, after having the hot rods and the modifieds, I mean, that was a big deal to announce that and take that on. How did everything come together? Are you pleased with the way you were able to work them into the program or with what they put on?
Yeah, it's worked out really well. Anytime you do something new, you don't really know how it's going to go, obviously. You talked about it earlier in the show, taking a chance. So it went well. We met a lot of new people. We have a lot more friends and probably some more enemies, but a bunch of great people in both of those divisions. We put on some great races. They put on some great races. The hot rod division is bursting at the seams, as everybody knows, and the modifieds are such a cool division. I think that there's room for improvement there, but I think as a group we will make that better. But overall, it was a great transition. Dave Gainsforth still running the day-to-day stuff to take some of the heat off us, working with us now. So he's still on the scene, which helps, and it's been good.
Alex, is the Oscar name still alive? That was a question someone messaged me the week, and I was like, that's a good question.
Yeah, it's everybody's got a lot of time and effort into that program, so it's really the United Racing Series. Obviously, is the sanctioning body now, but everybody refers to it still as Oscar. So it's just a slow transition, but ultimately everything will end up being branded United Racing Series.
Alex, I'd like you to talk briefly about the rule changes for the APC series, but I'd like you to explain more why you've made a couple of changes to the rules.
So not a lot of changes, as you heard. We there had been a couple of chassis changes just around the fuel cell area, the very forward portion of the front clip, just in tubing size. And we've had it on our rules now that this may become mandatory. And this year we said from after 2024 it is mandatory. So everybody's cars up till this point will be grandfathered in. We'll identify those chassis, but if they replace the front or rear clip, then they'll just go to the new dimension tubing. So it's really nobody has to change anything to make it work. And the probably the biggest one is we haven't had an engine offset rule, and now we do. So that's probably the biggest one, was just to bring that rule in. It's going to cause some teams a bit of work and some money. We understand that, but like so many other things, we think that we have to get to that point to be able to move forward. And we're not changing rules to comply with anybody's per se, except some of our guys do race in the States at times, and some want to go race in the States at times. And I don't know if you saw this week, all those guys down south announced a United late model series rule book, which is Southern Super Series, I think, Cars Tour, Jegs All CRA, the CRA Tour. So, Five Flag Speedway. And our cars are so close, as Kyle Steckley proved. He raced down there this fall a couple times at Nashville, and then also at Five Flags. So ultimately, like anything, if we all end up being able to race with each other without much pain, it's better for everybody. And I think it's a lot more opportunity to grow the sport. Plus, people like the CRA, these a couple East Coast series, East Coast of Canada, that is, and some different people have contacted us about doing some stuff together. People at Lancaster Speedway in New York. So there's a lot of exciting things that could happen down the road. So we're just trying to be ready.
The one I was most excited about, not most excited, most intrigued about though, was the shocks and transmission
Oh,
and
okay, yeah,
track width. Um, only because I thought it had an easy explanation. I thought it was really an example of you and Luke and your team kind of opening your minds a little bit and saying, okay, things are good, but we can make them even better.
yeah. So I didn't touch on that because I guess that's not a rule change, Adam, but it's a philosophy change where we have, when we go to different racetracks in the province, we have different guys or girls join us, which is fantastic. Our core is so strong, and when we drop into Sunset or Flamborough and 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 of their people join us, that's great. There's still some that we have a spec transmission, spec shocks, for example. Our rules been for over a year now, a different track width to match everybody in North America. So some of those people have lost the opportunity to race with us. And for some, I think of Cole Quinton last year, that was a huge day for him to be able to come race with us at Flamborough, although he has the equipment. But to make it easier for those folks, we'll overlook transmissions. You still have to have home track rules and be legal. You can't have a crazy transmission. You still have to pass your home track tech, but we'll look past shocks, track width, and transmissions to make it easier for those folks to have the opportunity to join us. That doesn't mean they will, but they have an opportunity now, and that increases the field for the fans as well. So
Let's bring on Alan Dietz now from Racing America.
might
This
have
is
to wake
something we're
him
going to
up.
talk about too. Alan, welcome to the show. Alex, there's talk about changes in the way fans will be able to catch the APC series going forward. Do you want to take the lead on that?
Yeah, sure. That was, another thing, not rule wise, but a thing that we have changed for 2024 that we announced at this general meeting. There'll be a press release going out probably this week, later this week. I know the week's moving fast and Christmas is coming, but we'll get that out. But ultimately, what's going to happen is that thankfully GeForce TV will still produce our shows, which is awesome because that quality is what our fans come to expect. Of course, as everybody knows, it's been free up to this point, free to the fans, but this whole thing isn't free. I mean, somebody's paying, and there's been a lot of hard work put in by you guys, by us, to raise enough money to put these shows on, and I think it's come to the point where we need to go. Well, we are going subscription based with Race in America, so it'll be like GeForce TV will stream that product direct to Alan and his team. It'll be live on Race in America behind their subscription-based program, which, if you look, is really, really reasonable. And we're going to lean on Alan here to have a promo code for our fans to sign up, maybe early in the year to save some money. But I mean, full price for over 200 plus live short track events a year, I think it is, Alan, correct me if I'm wrong, is around $140 Canadian. Plus, Race in America also has the opportunity for you to do a monthly subscription, which is $13 US, I believe. So it's really, really reasonable. You don't just get us in the APC series. I know Alan can talk to what else is on there, but there's hundreds and hundreds of races live that you can get besides ours. So it's really good value. Go ahead, Adam.
Let's have Alan explain. Alan, Racing America, sell it in 90 seconds or less. Tell us why everyone needs Racing America.
Well, it's like Alex said, and first off, we're just, I was glad that we could get APC races on this year, and I'm even more excited that we can get them on exclusively. But, it's like Alex said, we're renewing our deals with Pass and Act up in New England. We're working on our contracts right now for the Southern Super Series and CRA and that stuff again. And most all of those races are subscription, just like the APC races are. And, the thing that I try to tell folks is when you purchase a subscription, or when we do pay-per-views like for the Oxford 250 or the Snowball Derby or whatever, you are directly contributing to the series and to the production, and you are helping to make it possible to get the exposure that the APC series is getting. And just like Alex said, nobody could do a better job than GeForce is doing. And that was a really big thing for me too, as far as us being able to put it exclusively on Racing America, is the quality of the broadcast or network quality broadcast. The races are great. Car counts are great. Folks, got to see Kyle Steckley some in the late season races. But, when you look at, even though it is Nova Scotia, when you look at Cole Butcher and Jarrett Butcher and, the drivers that do come down and race in the United States, they're all racing up front and they're all winning races. And I want to get that exposed even more to the United States audience. And likewise, I want to expose Racing America to more folks in Canada.
Awesome.
How are the Canadians received at that? We've got Junior Hanley. That's the legend. Historically, Junior Hanley put Canadian stock car racing on the map. There's been others, but he's the man. More recently, there has been a fair amount of Canadian talent, and it's exciting that people can actually watch the Canadian talent now in Canada. But how are those guys revered down south? The Butchers, the Noggles, I'm going to forget people, but the Scott Steckleys when they go down, or Brandon Watson when he was traveling.
Well, you can't ignore what Cole Butcher's done. He's won the last two He's won the last 2 Oxford 250s. He finished second in the ASA Stars National Points and won the Redbud 400. You talk about Kyle Steckley, he comes to 2 racetracks that he doesn't race at that aren't really like anything in Canada, going to Nashville and to Five Flags, and really runs well. And I think showcased what anybody that's been watching APC races already knew. To me, it wasn't a surprise. I have said, and I continue to say, that NASCAR is totally missing the boat on Canada, and I'm not sure what the holdup is. And when I say that, I mean I know that there's the NASCAR Canada Series, but I mean as far as a Cup race in Canada, I don't understand why that should have happened 20 years ago. And I know it's going to happen here in the next, I'd say it's going to happen in the next 3 to 5 years, if not sooner. But the Canadian fans are second to none. They love stock car racing, and like I said, I hope by watching Race in America, it'll help them to see a little bit more of the races in the United States that maybe they're not accustomed to. And the thing about it is people will get exposed to these APC races that haven't seen them before, and I think that that's going to build up a big fan base here in the United States. At least that's the hope.
Yeah, Alan, just to touch base, the races will still be able to be picked up on Rev TV, which is going to helpfully, expose Racing America. We're going to use that as a cross promo and scratch both backs. Alan, the question about one of our viewers here is, does this get you the snowball? Now, I know we had talked about this. Is that going to change for next year? The subscription would get you the snowball.
No, but one thing that we try to do here are the benefits to pay-per-views whenever we do pay-per-views. And it's on rare occasions whenever you're dealing with these really big purse races. First off, you don't have to be a subscriber. So you can watch the pay-per-view and you don't have to be a monthly subscriber. But if you are a monthly or yearly subscriber, if you subscribe to the APC races, you are going to be in line for subscriber discounts. And as Alex said, we're going to get a discount code to try to get, the APC fans that have been hardcore followers, subscriptions at a discounted price. But likewise, whether it's the Oxford 250 or the Derby or the Slinger Nationals or whatever it is, if you're a subscriber, you will get subscriber discounts. And I think that's beneficial. And, we were actually on a conversation today with Tim Bryant down at Five Flags, the promoter of the Snowball Derby. And again, it's kind of a double-edged sword, but the other subscription services don't have the pay-per-view option. So when you do have those big events, it allows you to pay extra money and pay that big money to build up the purse like they did for the Snowball Derby this year, because they're getting that additional income from people that just absolutely can't get down to the race, but you're still being able to expose it to an audience all over the world.
No, it's right. Alan, we don't want to keep you, but we appreciate you coming on. Quickly, tell the fans how they can sign up and what kind of deals you got going on for Christmas.
I lost your sound there.
Oh, you did?
Can you hear me now? I hear you.
Yeah, I could. Yeah, I
There we go.
you.
Did you hear what I said, Alan? Give us the sales pitch.
Just one guy. I mean, like you said, Adam, we're going to forget somebody, but also another guy making noise down there is Trayton Lapsovich. We can't forget him either.
Yep.
But so many other guys from the East and West. And
yep, and it sounds like you're going to see him in more late model races this year. The sales pitch is this. We don't offer 3,000 races during a year, and we do that by choice. We want every week to have 3 or 4 events that we can feature in their major events. Every time there's going to be an APC race, that's a major event to us. It's a multi-camera production. It's a major event. So uh, my pitch is every week, 90% of the races that we have here on Racing America are subscriber races. And you're going to be able to watch races from Florida to Quebec to Ontario to Washington State. And it's going to be treated as a major event. It's not going to be an afterthought. So I hope people subscribe. We got a lot of great NASCAR content through our investors, and still the great short track content on racingamerica.com. That was speed51.com, and still on racingamerica.com, you can go and you can get the coverage and get the stories. And I plan on working with you guys even more than we did last year. And I thought we worked pretty well together last year, but even more to feature these guys and to, help people get to know them a little bit better.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I just to add to what Alan said, like I said, I talked about the price. It's reasonable. People are going to get incredible amount of racing. All our fans, or most of our fans are race fans, and they'll love all that. Plus, I think, you guys talked about this earlier in the broadcast about taking chances. And, sometimes you have to step outside the box a little bit to be able to move forward. And I feel that this relationship, partnership that we have all formed here has huge potential. We can do so much with it if we all work together, from the fans to the teams to the racetracks and Racing America and G-Force. So, Racing America is owned by some heavy hitters. I think that more exposure to all those types of people is not something that we should take lightly, and it's a good opportunity.
And the other thing, as opposed to, when streaming started back 10 years ago or so, racetracks were paying streaming services to come and produce their races. Now everybody's got skin in the game. We're as invested with you in making the APC series work as you guys are in making Racing America work. And I think that's what that makes these partnerships work so well. At least I hope it does.
Right on, Alan. We appreciate you stopping by tonight. Alex, stay. I got one more Ontario racing question for you. Okay. Alan, thanks for being with us, and we look forward to the partnership.
Yep. Thank you, guys, and thank you for giving us the chance, and we really look forward to it, and I really appreciate all your hard work.
Thanks, Alan.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, Alan.
Alex, the other big topic, switching gears now, new tire across the board here in Ontario. Kind of came out today from, American Racer, the folks at Grisdale. You talked about it, and maybe explain, if you can, for everybody in Ontario, not just APC, why everybody's changing to this new tire.
Yeah, absolutely. So the EC21 American Racer tire that we have been racing on has only been produced by Racing America Racing, just for our series and for races in Ontario. And like everything else, we kind of have outgrown that tire. There's tires now that are currently been developed within the past couple of years that dissipate heat better. They have advances in tread, in the tread portion of the tire, of course. So with late model racing, I think that those owners, teams, builders are so aggressive with the setups that it's time to have a better constructed tire. And this one has proved to be just that. It's also been proven to be a more consistent tire. If you're a tire guy on a race team, having staggers be so far, I mean, it's never a perfect science. These things are handmade, so it's got the human error built right into it. But apparently, from what all of our research has shown, is that these tires are more consistent. Ultimately, what will happen, some of the SRL series races are on this tire and different other programs throughout the US. And now, for example, strength in numbers. So if we ran out of EC21s and they had to make a batch for Grisdale's, you get what you get. You don't always get guaranteed sizes. Now, with one product line gone and us added to the AR153 product line, they make those tires, I would say, weekly or monthly for all these other series. So the availability should be better, sizing should be better. It can only benefit us, I feel, and it's going to be the same. All Ontario speedways with late model cars will run on them. Our series will run on them. Our modified division will run on them. I guess one difference will be initially is our hot rod series races on used late model tires with a minimum or a maximum tread depth rule. So what we will do, and we haven't told the teams this yet because this is all pretty new, but we'll start those folks off on the EC21s to use up. There will be a lot of inventory from late model teams that still have however many sets they have left that are used. They scuffed them, practiced with them, whatever, which is what a lot of our teams do anyways, buy them up. So all those tires that teams have in inventory, used or not, or otherwise, will be able to get used up by the hot rod folks, and we'll slowly transition them into the AR 153s, which will become available, June, July, as teams start to expend some of those.
What's the feedback been like so far, Alex? In the explanation that we heard, the differences, like you had mentioned, the EC21 is an older tire, more synthetic rubber in the AR 153, if I'm remembering the names right. But what are you hearing from the racers in terms of running on that tire?
It's been fairly quiet. I know Daryl Timmermans may have heard more than I have, but we did test them in September at Delaware Speedway. So it's not we're not going into this totally blind. The two guys that tested them, Shay Gamble and Sean Chenoweth, liked it, thought they felt good. And I don't, there's the carcass itself, besides the tread cap, is the same as the EC21. So how the car feels should be very similar. Seems like it's very similar, even from our tests. So the transition should be easy. Everybody starts in the late model divisions, for that matter. Everybody starts with X number of new tires at the start of the year anyway. So it's the perfect time rather than, trying to implement something like this partway through the year.
Fan question: did the blistering at Delhi prompt any of these changes?
No, not really. I can tell you that when I was at Chicasa, obviously we tested the EC21s, and at that time I remember meeting with the American Racer Engineers that they had, and I know they talked to Adam at Steel Enterprises several times about eliminating that product line, because if they could ever figure out a way to do it, it'd be beneficial for them, obviously, to have one less product line, and it would be stop them from building tires for one province. So that's what prompted the testing. So that's fair. And I guess that's worked out in everybody's favor because the testing went well. So it was easier for everybody at the local track level to make that decision.
Right on. I'm good with Alex.
Yeah, as always, Alex, thanks for coming on and taking the heat and taking the questions and sharing your time with us. We appreciate it. And Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you guys. It's always my honor to be on with you folks.
Thanks, Alex. Have a good day, bud. Another guy who's working hard for many entities, always trying to make the racing cool for everybody. We appreciate Alex's time joining us.
For sure.
And, exciting to be on Racing America. Sure, it's going to be a bit of a shift of change. When you look at it, it's not really a huge amount of money to see some of the best racing around. When you compare it with your buds, a couple bucks a piece.
Do we want to walk through, Clinton, how we got there? We can. It doesn't matter. We're here now, but it is a partnership. So we need for the APC series to be on board. They wanted our streaming services and our production. The track owners have always had concerns with us going in and the stream being available to anybody free of charge. It was overall a business model. The business model works at Ohsweken. Sales of advertising are up at Ohsweken. Have they tripled in the last 2 years, Clinton? Is that, or even more than that?
Yeah, a lot of that has to do with the amount of work Mike's put into the program too.
Right. But that wasn't.
But as Mike
that wasn't happening on the other.
But as Mike will tell you, he's got a lot of tools in his tool belt that other people don't have right now.
Right. And the point being that wasn't happening on the pavement side. They just weren't. And as a partnership, so we sat down at a table. We sat down with Luke and Alex, hey, where are we at? Where are we going? What needs to happen? They needed to present a different business model, and there was various options even there. Like
Yeah.
how is this going to look? What's this going to be shaped like? The first thing, and you and I, we had all agreed, we make our product the way it's made. We don't dumb it down. We don't put a camera on the front stretch tower. There is not a one camera shoot. This is the product. We want to provide it all or not at all. So that was
Yes.
kind of our point. They agreed. Like, they're a great partner. Luke and Alex have been a phenomenal partner. They agreed, okay, the tracks need to see something. We're down the road. There is hope that maybe we can build something where there's money to be made for the racetracks. And that's what's been built right now. It's not going to happen next year. It's going to take a lot of time, but the ball is now rolling. We've got a great partner in Racing America, and we still have a great partner in the APC series. So we're running two different kind of models between what we do at Oswego and what we do on the road. But that's kind of how we arrive there. It doesn't change our position at all.
No, we're learning certainly a couple different ways. Why Racing America over Flow and other streaming groups? That's a great question. First off, we had a partnership with Racing America last year. They carried all the races on Racing America, even though we were free, which was awesome. You know, we tried to negotiate with Flow. They're cutting back on some of their programming. We didn't quite get the time of day we expected to from Flow. Whereas Alan and Racing America were all about this deal. They believe in the product. They believe in the race teams. They believe in the series. They're excited to have us on, as you heard Alan just say.
Yeah.
They are also, from a production side, Flow just drops in their commercials wherever they want. So, you know, Alex could have the Castrol 300 and they're running Mobile One ads all through the Flow ads throughout the whole broadcast, which doesn't do the business end any good. As far as commercial breaks, they take them whenever they want. So it just kind of chops the show off whenever a producer somewhere out in the cloud feels it. But the other big thing is being able, like, let's not forget, everybody's pissed off maybe that this is now behind a paywall. It's still going to be free coast to coast on Rev TV, which for the race teams here is still a major, you know, tool in their tool belt, let's say, to go to their sponsors. Hey, we're still on national TV here. There is still a free option. If you want to watch it immediately, yeah, you're going to spend a couple bucks. If you want to watch it, you know, wait till it comes out on TV for the 2-hour broadcast instead of the full 4-hour. You have that opportunity. And Racing America was willing to let us do that. It wasn't an all or nothing proposition. Mm-hmm. It was, yes, let's build this and build us and be a great partnership. And like you say, everybody's got to win, you know. And why not tape delayed is another great question. I think, frankly, Adam, you and I have said we wouldn't care to do tape delayed. You know, I don't love the idea of it. It takes some of the magic away. I don't know. There's something about being alive that just keeps us all. I think it brings us up a couple notches.
Keeps us sharp.
Can't go back and fix it. You know?
Yeah. It's so much nicer to do. The fact that you can't go back and fix it. Because, Clint, you and I have worked in studio together, and it's amazing how often, no, I don't like it. Piss on it. This is how it came out. We're moving on to the next. But I think the moral of the story, there's a lot of positives to be. Exactly. There's a lot of positives to be taken from this. I'm looking forward to seeing some of the track owners. I hope they're pleased with what's been put together in this package. And
like Mike says, we need a holy moly in the moment, not a few days later. That's a signature line.
That's true. I don't think I could do that on a later on kind of thing.
Dirt in December, we don't need to play the whole video. Wild show down there. Hopefully you caught it. We can let that one go. Brickyard history lesson. This is something I found interesting, Adam. I'll throw this up, Spencer. First off, the core sample. This is years of, drilling down into the Indy surface. There you see all the layers of asphalt right down to the original brick. Pull up the story if you can, Spencer. I don't know if we can scroll through or how to look on the screen, but... Oh, okay. I probably have the story. Throw up the picture then, Spencer, and I'll try and find the story here as we're showing it. So this is them laying the bricks, Adam, which is insane. Just trying to find it here. Come on. Okay, so in December 1909, workers laid the final of the 3.2 million 10-pound bricks that paved Indy. Here's the part, though. At the original builder, Mr. Fisher's behest, the original track was a sticky combination of gravel, limestone, and 220,000 gallons of asphalt oil. Okay, they pressed it in a road surface. Here's what made me take this out. You can get rid of that, Spencer. The track surface proved disastrous as the first 5 races, both motorcycles and cars, suffered blown tires. 5 people died in the first auto race alone. 5 people, and they just kept going. They got just another one. Keep going. So they ended up paving it, and since then it became the Brickyard. But crazy, it was a rash of deaths that made them put down the bricks.
Spencer, did you get the picture of that sprint car crash at Williams Grove?
Yeah,
I shared it in the
too.
chat. Can you put that up? And this should be a conversation point. Folks, have a look at that. That driver is hanging on to the roll cage. The roll cage has become unbolted from the frame because that's how they were fixed at that time. Because some sanctions, USAC ran without roll cages, where other sanctions ran with roll cage. That driver survived that crash, was killed later in his life in a midget race. But that was 1970. Now, that's before I was born, right around when Clinton was born, in that era. Guys, this is not that is not that long ago to think that people are flying through the air with very little protection between themselves and the beyond.
You go back to the super modified days when your dad was hanging around Oswego, and they had a tiny little bolt-on halo bullshit thing that wasn't going to save your hair.
Most of them,
your head.
Their helmets stuck out much higher than the roll cages in a lot of cases, right? Safety has come a long way, which is pretty fabulous.
Do what you want. Let's look at quickly lowering costs. A kudo goes up to 5-star bodies, Adam. They put this post out this week. That said, exciting news. Thanks to material costs finally coming down, we're reducing prices on our plastic products. For the upcoming racing season, we made a promise that when material costs came back down, so would our prices. Making good of that promise and reduced prices are effective immediately. Kudos to 5-star bodies. Normally when something goes up, it's a good excuse just to keep it jacked up. So they made that happen, which is awesome to see. So shout out to 5-star bodies. I know all the late model folks that pay attention to this chat are happy about that. What else we got, Spencer? I think we're almost done. You want to talk about Van Geisberg doing double duty? Is that something you want to get into?
I wanted to talk about
or did you share that, Spencer? Throw it up.
If I did, I don't remember. Because we talked about it before. NASCAR will not let you run a super speedway if you don't have super speedway experience. So even Shane Van Gisbergen, who has won a NASCAR race, is not qualified to race in the Daytona 500.
Wow. And he's got to do
put that back
ARCA
up,
race.
Spencer.
No, he's got to do the ARCA race the same day to be able to race in the Xfinity race that day.
Yeah. So they are requiring it. NASCAR's, and that's just for him to run in the Xfinity race. So hats off to NASCAR for being true to themselves. Because of all the things Shane Van Gisbergen has done, pack racing is different. Big super speedway racing is different. So they do have that standard, and you can't just buy your way in. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Mufflers on race cars, last thing we got.
It's time. For God's sakes. Yeah, and I've heard this time and time again, but it never happens. There is no freaking reason for race cars to be so loud your ears will bleed. There's just not. People think it's cool. It's how it used to be. They don't need to be. I don't want them to be silent like an electric car. It's all about the tone. I like hearing the torque. But it doesn't have to be so obnoxious. Do something to quiet the cars. Places are getting shut down because they're loud. How stupid is it that we're allowing places to get shut down because cars are loud when we could prevent it.
You want to respond to your elf buddy here? Don't muzzle horses.
Eat
Race
shit,
cars should
Rob.
be loud. Yeah, on a somber note, Fran posted there, we lost Racer Man, Les Mawson, former announcer at Maryville, spent some time behind the mic. I don't know, did you do Maryville? Did Humberstone for a while too, but yeah, so thoughts go to the Mawson family. Cancer sucks. I mean, we can tell you that firsthand. So,
Yep, it does so.
Well, pretty good year, pretty good show. First off, before we go any further, thank you, Spencer, for everything you do for us on the road, putting up with our clownisms, our attitudes, our tempers, and just generally working your ass off to keep us on the air looking good. We love you, bro. Sometimes you get people in your life. Oh, well, I'm still kissing Spencer's
I'm not done with. I'm not done with Spencer. I've still got another night.
Oh, yeah, we're gonna get to that too.
All right. Spencer will always have that night. You know what I want for the new year, Clinton?
Hold on. Spencer came in our ear and said, "Can you please say that differently?"
You should have said that differently.
You know what? I think we just need to make Spencer start talking. He's got a damn microphone. He can work out the technology. Yeah. When he talks to us, he needs to talk to everybody in the new year. That's it.
I think that would be very cool. When he cues his microphone for the few things that he does say, everybody should hear it. That's what I was going to say. Was
even if he says Alex is on, we can hear that. Everybody should hear that.
Yeah. Yep. And when he says, like when he points out when we've done something stupid, that's good too.
We take it from each other
all the time.
But anyways, as I was saying, sometimes you meet people in your life who really help you out and take you down a new path. And Spencer was like that for all of us, I think. The whole G-Force crew works their ass off. We heard Alan, we heard Alex, we hear the fans. We appreciate all the great comments, and we love bringing the best we can. You do have another night coming up with Spencer. Mindwell session is back. Adam, it's a very tough time of year for a lot of people. For us, racing's over. We get into a funk. I was struggling a couple weeks ago. People miss family. People have financial struggles. People just generally not doing well this time of year. So tell us about what's happening.
It's a tough time of year. After a couple of years off, Clinton, it's time to come back with the Mindwell sessions. Tomorrow night at 8 o'clock, Adam Out There on Facebook is where you can find us. And tomorrow night at 8 o'clock, and we're going to try to do one a month. January's will be live in Cambridge, Ontario, and it will be live streamed. But tomorrow night will be just like the good old days. Spencer has agreed to help produce it, so we're going to put on a show.
Live and live stream? Explain the technology and logistics behind that.
I'm going to be live in a room with people in the room, but we're also going to stream the event for people who can't make it. Kind of like what we do at Ashwegan Speedway on a Friday night. Would you like me to explain that?
Interesting. Is Spencer going to have to be in place?
No.
Nope. All right. I don't need to know.
You can afford that. I can't afford that kind of action.
That's what we're trying to get to the bottom of it. We can't afford him to come here on the weekend, but
no, it'll be just like this. Simple. Like there's not going to be strobe lights and stuff like that. But in seriousness, mental health is still very, very important. In fact, I think in the big picture, it's getting worse, not better, in terms of people not addressing it, people not talking about it openly, people not recognizing it. And the worst thing we can hear is when someone has lost their battle with mental health and nobody even knew that they were having a battle. That's something that needs to be stopped, and we can be a part of that. So away we go.
Just to add to that, when we look at our numbers, we're like 87% men in this viewership group. Speak up, boys. We're the worst. We eat it internally until it's too late. So talk to somebody.
So that's the hope. That's why we started it. That's why I started it, was because I'm happy to share my story. I'm happy to share my experience battling mental illness. And so for those of you who didn't know, now you know I am crazy, but it's diagnosed. So, but in seriousness, you're not alone, and there's no need to suffer in silence. and it's not a life sentence. You can have a pretty fulfilling life and still deal with mental illness. So I feel like I have, and it's been a lot of fun. And thank you, Fran. I guess, yeah, Jomo's interview must have aired with Connor going crate sprint car racing next year. Hopefully in the next 2 weeks, we'll have a car set up and put together. I'm petrified.
Connor's money or Daddy's money?
Oh, no. Daddy got no money. Nope, this is Connor putting it together, and he's got a pretty good job. So
Right
this is what he's wanted to do. Go for it, kid.
We're over time. It's chicken wing time at my place. I'm going to eat. We appreciate everybody hanging out and being with us. Appreciate all our great marketing partners. It's been another fantastic year. We'll see you the first Tuesday in January, and we'll be back then. Talk to you soon.
Cheers.